All right. All praises and glory goes to Yahweh by Shimon Shai by Shimon Kokodash. Double and honors to the elders at GMS who's pushing this truth with all truth and sincerity. Shalom. And I just woke up from a dream, man. Which I didn't even want to wake up from, but I was shown a snippet how the kingdom is gonna be, and it felt like I was in the kingdom, not saying to the point to where I'm proud, but to the point to where everything was all the prophecies came to pass, man. And I had spiritual power, and I was with the brother. And the dream was kind of, dreams are just dreams. Dreams, some dreams, they don't mean nothing, and then other dreams, they kind of wonky. But this dream was kind of wonky, but, I'm gonna get straight into it. But if, so in this dream, I had, it was to where, it was before Jacob's trouble ended, how life was, and it was after Yahweh came back, how life was. But like I said, it was wonky because, I was with a brother, and we had a group of Edomites, man, and it was fields of just forestry, like just a forest everywhere. But it was like fields. It was like fields with some forests and fields without others. It was more like we had to clear the forest out to sustain land, to get land, And Edomites were our handlers, man. Well, not handlers, but were our workers, man. They were our slaves ultimately, because me and this brother, he did look like an Edomite, but he wasn't an Edomite, because he had the same status that I have. He had the same spiritual power that I have, and I could clear out a forest and stuff with my spiritual power, man, and in the middle of these forests, there was a church, man, and my mindset in this dream was I was looking for a place to set up my establishment, to set up my settlement, man, and the Edomites were my slaves and were my workers, but the Edomites, they were hiding underneath in the shade, man. They really didn't want to work in the hot sun, and from what I was going at while I was looking for a place to set up my settlement, and my slaves were hiding in the shadows, man. They was hiding in the shade, man. Underneath I want to say a fence or a tree, whatever. But they was hiding underneath the I forgot the word. Oh my God. In the shade, But what I was going at is to where the sun was a big enemy to these heathens, man. They don't like the sun, man, and we know that. These Edomites, they get sunburned and being out in the sun way too long, but the sun was a big enemy unto Edom, man. And they hated the sun. It was like they was being tormented by the sun, and they had it was like they had the rest, because the sun was scorching their ass way too much to where, you know, if they didn't rest, they wouldn't get shit done, you know. But like I said, I was looking for a settlement and I seen a church, and before Yahweh Shai came back, I remember that these churches, man, were 501c3 charters, man. You know, they wasn't here to help the Israelite man. They was here to bring him down, to bring him lowly, you know, to do all manners of evilness, man. So as I remember, as I recollect, when the world did end, you know, how these churches suppressed the Israelite man, and how they exploited the Israelite family, man. You know, I was like, man, we just gonna burn this shit up. And I was with everything I did. I was with my brother, you know, my brother who had spiritual power, and he looked like an Edomite, but he wasn't an Edomite. So I was always mocking him, saying, "You're an Edomite," because, you know, that's you know, I don't know, but he, you know, he laughed, but I was like, yeah, we're gonna put our settlement right here, man. So we gonna start off at this church, man. So, you know, I flew up in the air, and then I used my laser. I shoot laser out of my eyes to burn up the fences, man. You know, and to ultimately to burn up the church and place and start building there. You know. But, you know, that was most of my dream. But I had more. I just can't remember, because that was more like into the future. I can't remember it like in the past, you know, when we was here, you know, of that dream. But it was more like into the future, and these heathen nations, they're gonna have a big problem on their hands once they get into the kingdom, man, with that sun, man. You know, that sun's gonna be scorching their ass, man. They're gonna have sunburns, man. You know, and they gonna and what kind of got me is that, you know, all the shit that they did on this side, it's not gonna compare to the torment, to the torment that they gonna get in the kingdom, man. You know, and for brothers, man, all the shit that we had to go through on this side, it's not gonna compare to the rewards and the gifts that Yahweh Shai is gonna give us into the kingdom, man. You know, because shit, like, it was just beautiful, man. Because shit, I didn't even want to wake up out of my dream. That's how beautiful it was. And after I woke up, I'm like, oh shit, I'm back here, you know. But, you know, it was a beautiful dream, man, you know. And I wish I could have stayed longer and seen more, but, you know, Yehovah Shimon Shai just wanted me to do this video, man, you know, because these Edomites, man, they gonna pay for everything that they have done to the Israelite man. You know, especially the ones that know their power and that turn back. You know, they have done us wrong, brothers. You know, and in this dream, I kind of got a whiff of how they was feeling, man. You know, and it was a big feeling of what's that word, man? Of feeling sorrowful for what they did, man. A big feeling for feeling sorry for what they did. Not because they just feel sorry, man. Because it was time for their torment, man. It was time for their punishment to come forth. That's why they was feeling sorry, You know, that's why they was feeling sorrowful, and they kind of regret for the things that they did. But it was because it was their turn to pay and to be our captives, man. You know, which shows you a lot about these people, man, about this nation, man. You know, but like I said, the biggest thing that these Edomites that was not attacking, but that's a big enemy to these Edomites. It's gonna be that sun, man. And they didn't, trust me, brothers. They didn't want to work in the sun. They didn't want to work in the heat. It was more to where I'm gonna have to beat the mess out of them to get them out of that shade and to go work, man. You know, because it was like torture to them, man. It was like they was being tortured, you know. But yeah, that was my dream, you know, that I had. You know, I'm just gonna call it a dream, a snippet into the kingdom, you know. And the one thing, the weird thing that I was saying about, you know, your dreams can be wonky is that when Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai sends his son Yahushai to come back, man, the earth is gonna be wiped clean, especially Israel. It's gonna be wiped clean. There's not gonna be churches. There's not gonna be buildings, you know. And what's another one? So like my memory is just bad right now. But there was something else I wanted to get to tell y'all. So like I just woke up, so I'm just trying to recollect everything that I seen. But yeah, I can't remember right now, but yeah, there's not gonna be churches, man. And then I just remembered. Wherever we not gonna choose our location, you know. I mean, if Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai has it like that, you know, it's fine. But it's gonna be more like Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is gonna choose where he wants to be set, and wants you brothers to be set up, where your establishments, where your settlements is gonna be set up, man. You know, everything is gonna be done under Yahweh Shai and down, man. You know, through the Heavenly Father, through Yahweh, through Yahweh Shai, through his elect, man. You know, so whatever he wants, it's gonna go. But you know, it was just beautiful because I had spiritual power, and I was flying above all the trees, seeing like what places that I'm gonna put, you know, foreseeing into the future. You know, the spiritual bodies, man, is gonna be off the chain. You know, it's gonna be something that we haven't experienced in this body, man. You know, some brothers lost their smell. Some brothers lost feeling, man. You know, in their feet, in their toes. You know, every brother got their own different trial that they go through, man. But with the spiritual bodies, man, we're gonna be made perfect, brothers. We're gonna be able to see through people, man. Which we can see through people right now, but we're gonna be able to see everything about them. We're gonna be able to look through their spirits and see how many reincarnations they came back from. You know, see their past, who they were. You know, we're gonna be able to see our past, man. We're gonna be able to watch our past lives like movies, man. You gotta understand. We're gonna be able to zoom in and see the tiny insects. You know, the tiny ants, the tiny anthill, man. And inside the anthill, man, you know, we're gonna be able to see them laying eggs. You know, eating. You know, doing all types of stuff, man. You know, the bodies that we're gonna get, brothers. You know, if you stay in this thing, it's gonna be far surpass all the torment, all the suffering that we had to go on this side, man. Because you brothers have been through a lot. You know, we have been through a lot. You know, and Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's will that we make it, man, so we can just get the hell up out of here and enjoy the earth like how it should be in righteousness, man. you know. But it's gonna be beautiful, man. It's like I said, it's not gonna be compared to the trials and tribulations you have to go on this side, man. It's gonna be far out to where, you know, you brothers, all this suffering and all this torment, all this trial and tribulation that we have to go through, man, it's gonna be worth it, man. You know, and sometimes it feels like, you know, how could this be worth it, man? You know, but you got to get out that mindset, man, because once this kingdom and once this suffering is over, which we're right on the edge, man, we're right on all hell breaking loose, and the MOTB being implemented, then we're gonna get a kingdom that's gonna last forever, man. You know, we're gonna get a kingdom that lasts forever, man, and we're gonna put hell on these heathens, man, for siding with these damn devils, man. And for helping out these devils, man, because these heathens didn't help us with shit, man. They added on to our torment, man. They didn't even tell us that we was the Israelites, man. Even though that some of these heathens, they knew who we were, man, they still labored off of our backs, man, and put more hell on us, you know. So these heathens, they gonna get it too, man. You know, I got a specific heathen tribe, you know, that I'm gonna put hell on, man. You know, I'm gonna put the most hell on, man, these heathens, man, for what they have done, man. They're not getting away with shit, man. We gonna put hell on them as much as we gonna put hell on Esau and Edom, man. But Esau and Edom, they gonna get it worse, man. They gonna get it without mercy, man. Like they have shown us without mercy, man. To hell with these devils, man. You know, let these devils come and put hands on us and persecute us, man. You know, and I want to do, and that's gonna be for another video. You know, being persecuted, man. You know, once persecution happens, brothers, y'all should be rejoicing, man. Y'all should be happy, man. When persecution happens and people saying all manners of evil things and wicked things against you, brothers, y'all should be happy, man, because we're closer to the kingdom at that point, and all hell is gonna break loose, man. When or if it's not already, man. You know, persecution comes, man. That's when Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is gonna get the ball rolling, man. You know, and he gonna be on his way, man. You know, dealing before he shows up is gonna be the MOTB. But we're moving a step closer, man, and we're finally taking more steps to the kingdom of heaven, man. You know, but you know, enough ranting. You know, I just wanted to get that. You know, so I like to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Salak. Let me get one scripture, and this is Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1 and 2. So, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob, man. You know, and this prophecy still has to come to pass, man, because they're gonna cleave unto us, man. These heathen nations and Esau and Edom, they're gonna cleave unto us, man. And we're going to be set back in our own land, you know, back in our land, man, you know, which we desire, man. You know, think about it, man. Look at these 2/3, man. Look at these 2/3, man. They don't want to go back home. They don't want to go back home, brothers. They want to stay here, be entertaining to these heathens. They want to stay here and ultimately they don't have a kingdom mindset, man. You know, they don't have a nation building mindset, man. It's more like I want to get all the riches for myself and for my family, while our people suffer under Esau's Edom unfair rule, man. You know, and it's more like a selfish behavior that these celebrities. That your favorite celebrity, that your favorite entertainer, you know, show, man. Because they're selfish, man. Because they're not thinking about the whole nation of Israel. You know, they're just thinking about themselves, man, and them getting gain and profit in this kingdom, which they still get persecuted. They still get beaten by the KKK members, man. You know, they're not exempt. You know, even though they might have fame, money, notoriety, if I can say it right. You know, they still get beat over the head, man. They're not exempt. You know, Esau comes, get back in your place, nigga, smacks him in his head. Get back in line, nigga. You know? But they love it here, man. They love getting beat, you know? So, man, fucking to hell with these celebrities, to hell with these 2/3, man. You know, that want to keep this system up and going. You know, these people, they don't see the big picture, man. They're gonna be kings and princesses in the kingdom of heaven, man. You know? They're gonna be kings and princesses, man. You know, well, the 2/3, they're gonna come back as princes and princesses, man. But you know, at the end of the day, they're gonna be in the kingdom of heaven with new bodies, man. You know. So, you know, to hell with these 2/3, man. Let them die in the kingdom that they love. We're looking for a new, better kingdom and Yahweh Shai's kingdom. So I'd like to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Ba'ashim Yakwadash. Double and honors to the elders at GMS who's pushing this truth with all truth and sincerity. Shalom.